Hello everyone and welcome to a new lecture on English vowels and consonants. You know that when we speak we have an interrupted stream of sounds, and in order to study these sounds we have to segment them, to cut them into smallest units which are called phonemes. Phonemes could be vowels and could be consonants. Let's see the difference first, the difference between the vowels and consonants. We have so many differences, but what comes to mind first is that when we pronounce vowels, air stream is open all the time, and it's never impeded, it's never obstructed, and so on. On the other hand, when we pronounce consonants such as p, ma, etc., our speech, our airstream is blocked either completely, as in p, or partially, as in fa. Okay, so this is the main difference between the two types of phonemes, consonant and vowel. In the pronunciation of vowels, our mouth is somehow open and airstream is not blocked, and when we pronounce consonant, airstream is impeded or blocked in one way or another. This is how to differentiate between vowels and consonants in any language. Another thing is that we have to say that, which is a very important difference, by the way, that consonants do not come in the center or the center of the English syllables. We cannot make syllables without vowels. There must be a vowel in the middle of the syllable, which represents the nucleus or the peak of this syllable. For example, here the word is said, it's a syllable. In the middle we have the vowel a. We cannot put in the middle a consonant, for example, sa or ta. They must come at the beginning or at the end, but in the middle, this is really must be occupied by a vowel. This is how we make syllables. So if there is no vowel in the middle of a syllable, there is no syllable at all. These are the two main differences. So again, the two main differences between vowels and consonants. The first one is air is obstructed in pronouncing consonants. This is not the case when we pronounce vowels. Second, in making syllables, there must be a vowel in the middle of a syllable, and without this, we cannot have syllables. On the other hand, consonants do not come in the middle. They do not make the peak or the nucleus of a syllable. They come at the beginning, making the onset of the syllable, and they come at the end, making the coda of the syllable, as we're gonna talk about this later on. Now let's move on to have a very quick idea about the English vowels. And as you know, they are divided as follows. 12 pure vowels divided into 7 short vowels and 5 long vowels. They are pure, the quality, they do not, actually doesn't change from the beginning to the end of the pronunciation of each pure vowel. On the other hand, we have compound, you can say compound vowels, which are diphthongs, and in British English the number of vowels is 8. And by the way, we have to know that the number of vowels varies from one accent to another. For example, in British English, especially in standard English pronunciation RP, the number of vowels is 20, and in American English it varies from the number varies 15. Okay, let's go on. Now this figure illustrates the English vowels, short and long, as you see. We have long vowels such as E, O, U, and A. And we have short vowels such as E, A, A, O, U, and U, which is schwa in the middle of our mouth. We pronounce this. This shape represents, as we see and as we told you before, this shape represents our mouth from the inside. So this vowel, which is E, is said with our, with our mouth closed. As you see, we find that the tongue is raised in the mouth, and we say it with the front of the tongue. On the other hand, a vowel such as A, we say it with our mouth open, and we say it with, somehow to the back of our tongue. Okay. So this is a shape, and as you see here, it's inside our mouth. So what does this represent? It represents a map inside our mouth, which tells us where exactly each vowel is pronounced. Okay. And when we talk about vowels, we talk about three important things. Number one, tongue height, whether the tongue is close to the roof of the mouth, it's mid-close or it's open. It means that the tongue is low. And number two, we have to look at which part of the tongue is involved in the production of a vowel, whether it's the front of the vowel, the center of the vowel, or the back of the vowel. The front of the tongue, the center of the tongue, and the back of the tongue. And here we have front vowels, central vowels, and back vowels. Okay. Here we go. Let's see the first group, and we have English short vowels. We have number one, E. Okay. If we go back here, we can describe E as a vowel, which is front and close. Front and close vowel, short vowel, as you see. Let's see some examples or some sentences for practice. Did the din in the hill hit your ears? Okay. Kick the fin and let the little lamb pill. Sit on the tin and have wit. Okay. So, and look at the transcription of each example, and I have used the British pronunciation or the British transcription. Okay. The second is for example, get us some fresh lemon. Get us some fresh, not fresh, lemon. By the way, this is one of the sounds or vowels which causes a lot of problems to our students, because they pronounce it like like a previous one. So they say get and fresh and lemon. No, it's a little bit open, and we say this way: get us fresh lemon. Okay. The hen fell in the den. He said, not he said. He said the pen is on the desk. Okay. Get some rest, Ted. Seek shelter in the shed. Seek shelter, not shelter, in the shed, not shit. Okay. So please try to say this sound this way. Open your mouth a little bit, because it's not closed as in e. It's not e. It's a. The third one is a. Okay. By the way, this is an example that belongs to the previous one. I guess, not guess. I guess the weather is not yet well. Okay. Let's look at the example of this vowel, which is a. Jack sat on the mat. The rat ran so rapidly. Larry's dad is sacked. Look at the T of sack. Is he sacked? Because ka is a voiceless consonant, so the ed is pronounced as ta. Pamper the sad man. Pamper, the sad man. Okay. Number 4, shut the heart, cut the bud. Okay. It's a very easy one. Number 5, lock the dog. lock the dog. Okay, dogs are flocking, no one can stop them. By the way, this vowel is pronounced with like R in American English, so they say lock the duck, lock the duck instead of lock the dog. Okay, let's keep on saying it the British way. Dogs are flocking, no one can stop them. What? Thank God. You got a hot meal in the box. You got a hot meal in the box. Box. Okay. And we have which is number 6. Look, put your foot here. Okay. Would you pull our trigger? Should he book a trip to the woods? Okay. And then we have the last one, or the last one, which is the poor. I say the poor schwa, really poor, because you'll find that any vowel which is, coming in a weak syllable, it turns into a schwa. It turns into a schwa. It's neutral, or neutral, or neutral. Yeah, weak vowel pronounced in the middle of the vowel space, our mouth. We pronounce this vowel in the middle of our mouths with the least effort, time, and loudness. It's a very weak one. You don't have to exert effort when you pronounce wa. You meet it so frequently in most of the unstressed vowels. So this is Look at the man here, and look at the shape of his mouth and his lips. Neutral. Everything is neutral. As if he's not speaking, just opening his mouth a little bit and pronouncing the vowel from the middle of the mouth. So okay. Let's take some examples to show you how schwa or is very, very frequent in English speech, because it comes in unstressed syllables, weak syllables, and in weak words. And this is a very important element in making the English rhythm, which is based on the alternation between the stresses and the unstresses. Yeah, let's look at the example here. Yes, with the. Yeah, we're gonna say just one of them. With the advent. Say advent. No, advent. This is a stressed syllable, and this is a mark of stress. Okay, advent, then, and don't pronounce the T. Advent of the digital, age. Okay, dictionaries. This, by the way, if you pronounce American, say dictionaries. Or dictionary making, or dictionary making has moved. We're gonna take this the long vowel just now to the next level. Okay, dropping or dumping. Yes, dumping the traditional print dictionaries and giving way to the handy interactive weak vowel. And active, because its act is the stressed syllable, it's preceded by this mark to show us that it's a stressed syllable. Free, convenient, multimodal, modal. This is a diff song. We're gonna know more about it later on. And constantly, or constantly, by the way, constantly updated electronic dictionaries to thrive beyond words. To thrive beyond words. Okay, so here we find a lot of schwa sound coming in unstressed and weak syllables. Okay, long vowels, second group, we have 5. First one is E, as in lead. I dream of your sweetest beam. Feed the sheep and geese. Meet steely Dean. The queen likes green screens. Number 2, O. The world of birds attracts girls. The world of birds attracts, I'm not going to pronounce T, attracts girls. Work hard and turn first. Kirk burns his shirt. Learn and learn, never be curt. Okay? A journey to the center of the S is worthwhile. The turtle prefers early sleep. Okay? And by the way, if you prefer the American pronunciation, of course, this will be said with an R. So we say the world instead of the world, birds instead of birds, girls instead of girls, and so on and so forth. So here we have turn, we have first, we have burns, and we have shirt, etc. or etc. Or your heart asks, did you do your part? Calm down, Mr. Hardy. He is the last one to depart. Are you in the barn, Mr. Carter? Okay. Now, if you pronounce the American way, it would be you have to pronounce the R. Your heart asks, did you do your part? Okay. Calm down, Mr. Hardy. He is the last one to depart. Are you in the barn, Mr. Carter? Okay. We have then O, number 4, O, as in the horses brought a lot of corn. He falls off the tree when the storm hits. The four tall daughters bought salty fish. The store is on the second floor. The oral test boards were the toppers of the course. Keep law and order. Law and order. نشوفها بعد كده law and order. What's the hour before dawn call? What's the hour? What is the hour before dawn called? Okay. The last one is Sue loses another tooth. The fruit juice is useful. Do you super shoes? Or you do super shoes? Who is the beautiful student in the school? That the blues music is amusing is true. Music, amusing. Okay. And then we'll move to the third group, deaf songs, and let's see. We have compound vowels, which are known as deaf songs, and a deaf song starts with a vowel, and we move on to pronounce another vowel from another area in the mouth or vocal tract. The number of deaf songs, as we said, is 8, and they are divided into 3 groups. The first one ending in E, I, Oi, and A. Second in O, as in ow and O, and the third ends in schwa, which includes A, E, and O. Okay, and diphthongization, what does it mean? It involves a glide or a movement from one sound to the other. Okay, so here is a figure illustrating the English diphthongs, centering diphthongs, because they end with the central vowel schwa, and they are ear, a, and o, and ear, and o, and the second group closing because they end with closing the sounds or vowels I and O, and those ending in A are A, I, and Oi, and O we have O and Ow. Okay, and look at the two components of each diphthong. For example, here we have A, we start with and then we move in the direction of I. This is where I is pronounced in the mouth. And A as an fair, we find that we start with and move the direction of the schwa vowel. I with A or A and move in the direction of A, and so on and so forth. So each these arrows represents the movement or the glide from one vowel to another vowel, and that's what makes a diphthong. Okay, we start with A. Okay, and we find that some examples. Here is a discussion or just a description of it. A is a tight diphthong as the tongue movement is limited. It moves from A to A, and both are closed. Look at this. This is A. A small movement is the size of the movement, or the distance between the first part and second part is small. It's not long as I, for example, or ow, or oi. These are open diphthongs, and they are found everywhere in the world. But anyhow, A is input. But in some accent, it's replaced by A, not H, A. In some accents, many Americans and Australian, speakers pronounce it with A. It's no longer a diphthong. It becomes a long pure vowel. A. Okay. Let's see some examples. Kane stays in the shade in front of the gate. Kane stays in the shade in front of the gate. The way to Cape Town is great. You made a chain of names. The famous parade takes place today. Can you change your fate? Okay, I. See, I. We start with A or A, and we end with E. Okay, fight or flight. Okay, fight or flight. Nike finds flight at night. He's a kind guy. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. Out of sight, out of mind. A sigh of relief, I got the right decision or design on time. Fly a kite, Mike. And then we have oi. We start with O and we end with E, as you see. Okay, and you'll find this diphthong also in all human languages, just like I and ow. Okay, so it's not problematic for us as non-native speakers of English. Let's see some examples. The royal boy will join the navy. I can't enjoy listening to your voice. It's very noisy here. Avoid blood-boiling employers. Okay. And then we'll move to those ending in O, and we have O and ow. O, look at how this guy is pronouncing it. O, O. Opening his mouth a little bit. The lip ends with, it ends with a little bit of rounding in order to pronounce the O. Okay. And we start in the middle of the mouth to pronounce schwa, and then you end with O, so it's gonna be like that. O, 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 O. By the way, this there in British English only, and in American it's replaced by O, O, O. Okay, so let's look at the examples. The Roman heroes rose to power. Oh no, don't go. Go home to find your noble soul. The soldiers grow clover in Rome. Both of them voted for Joe. Joe. Understand? Oh. Look at ow. It's a very easy one. You know, ow in words. We saw it was ah. Look, ow, ow. See? And example word or sentences. Now, you should shout out. You should shout out loudly. His house in town down or downtown. Okay. Never doubt your God. It's about how you really feel. The clown's gown and trousers are brown. Okay. Centering the songs, you'll find them only in British English. And we'll start with the first one. Ear, 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 ear. Okay. Layla is near. Everything is here. Layla is near. Near. Everything is here. Okay. Fears and queers are mere experiences. Fierce European winter could be on the horizon. Pierce is a weird interior designer. Ian theory is queer. Theory is queer. Okay. Her ears, here will. No, cheers, dears. By the way, this cheer, because this word has many pronunciations. So it's been here in blue, but if we click, we gonna find a lot of different pronunciation for this vowel, for this word, because it could be tears, as you see here, and it could be tear with a transcription without tear as a verb, and so on. The second one is eh. Okay, eh. By the way, according to the latest version of Gibson's book, classic book The Way, which is updated every now and then by Cradenden and so on, English pronunciation, this vowel or this diphthong disappears and is being replaced by a pure long vowel eh. So here eh. Okay, let's see the example. Share in the fair, Blair. The fairy tale scared me. Don't stare, take the stairs. Okay, beware. The head's flare is incredible. Okay, the last one is or. Say or. Examples. Okay, he went on a tour to make sure help is given to the poor. Okay, he went on a tour to make sure help is given to the poor. There is no pure cure. Okay, of course there are examples and tasks and you have to do all these tasks and exercise. Let's move on to English consonants. And as you see, consonants are phonemes that require more speech organ movement than vowels do. Take a look at the different organs of speech, the tongue, the lips, the teeth, the palate, etc. They work together either by firmly contacting or just getting closer in various degrees to produce consonants from different places, as shown in the figure below. Okay, here we have 1 from 1 to 9. These are the different places and positions in our vocal tract, the human vocal tract, and how we pronounce English, or how we pronounce consonant in general. So here was the first one. We have the bilabial, the two lips, and then we have the labiodental, the upper teeth and the lower lip as in f and v, the bilabial as in p, b, and ma, dental and interdental as in s and the, and then we have alveolar as in t, d, s and z, post alveolar as in sh and j, retroflex and palatal alveolar we have ra, palatal as in palatal number 6 where it is here this palatal because it is the tongue is raised to be close to the hard palate, which is the second part of the roof of the mouth. We have the alveolar ridge and then the hard palate and then the soft palate as we said earlier. Okay, and then we have the velar, which is soft palate. This is number 7. That the back of the tongue and even the is raised to make firmer contact with the soft palate or the velum, and this is why we have a velar consonants such as k, g, and n. Okay, and then we have alveolar sound, and this is a alveolar, the last part of the mouth. It's very movable, as we said, and this is sound. This is a place where the tongue is coming in close to the alveolar in order to pronounce some sounds which are not there in English, standard English. For example, we have ra and kha. We have to say that the sound kha used to be there in all English, and still it's pronounced in some accents and dialects in Britain. For example, the accent of Liverpool and some Scotch accent, they pronounce a k sound when it comes finally as a kha. So instead of saying back, they say bach. Okay, instead of saying look, they say loch. Okay, and then we have pharyngeal. This is related to the pharynx, البلوم. The pharyngeal sounds, there are no pharyngeal sounds in or consonants in English, but there are in Arabic. We have ayn and we have ha. And look at the tongue. As you see, the tongue is divided into sections: blade, tip, blade, front, center, back, and root. And look at the roof of the mouth, which is divisible into 3 main parts: the alveolar ridge, the hard palate, and the soft palate. Okay, and here we have the glottis and the larynx, and where the vocal folds or chords are there, vibrating in order to make voiced sounds, and non-vibrating in order to make voiceless sounds. Okay. Let's divide the English consonants into groups in terms of manner of articulation, and because we talked about place of articulation, bilabial, labiodental, dental, etc. And let's talk about manner of articulation. How do we pronounce these consonants? First, we start with stop consonants, and there is another term which is plosive, and there are 6, as you see: p, b, t, d, k, and g. And stop sounds or are when we pronounce them, air is trapped in many places in the mouth. You see, and then it releases, and when it releases, it releases with explosion or explosion. Okay, عشان كده in Arabic they say or they term or call these sounds أصوات انفجارية, because we trap air is boiled or accumulated or built up, and after this closure, and when we release it with explosion or with some sort of puffing of air and so on. Let's see where exactly this closure happens, where exactly airway is blocked. The first place is the bilabial closure, and this happens when we have the two lips pressed together, as in p and b. Then we have the alveolar closure, when the tip of the tongue touches firmly the alveolar ridge immediately behind the upper teeth, as in t and j. And the velar closure, this happens when the tongue, the back of the tongue specifically, is raised to make contact with the soft palate in the roof of the mouth, and this is a case where we pronounce k and ga. Okay, so these are the 6 stop consonants, and as we said, there are 3 positions for stopping airstream and plucking airway. Number 1, bilabial closure. Number 2, alveolar closure. And number 3, velar closure. And in each closure, okay, we have a couple of consonants to be pronounced. Okay. Let's move on to something different. We have to say about plosives that 3 of them are voiced and 3 are voiceless. The voiced are the b, the b, the j, and the g, and the second are p, ch, and k. Voiced consonants involve vocal fold vibration. I know our vocal fold vibrate because they are, close to each other, and they form narrow position or narrow glottis. So it is easy for air to push them and to cause them to vibrate. And on the other hand, in p, t, and k, as you see, they are voiceless consonants. We do not need to vibrate the vocal folds, and this is why they are called voiceless. Voiceless consonants, as you see, in order to make them audible, and we can hear them, we have to aspirate them if they come at the beginning, and this is called aspiration. We have 2 important things we can do to these 3 consonants, p, t, and k. Number 1, if they come at the beginning, they are aspirated. What do we mean by that? We exert more effort and we say them with audible puff of air. So we pronounce them with a ha like that. We say p, we say t, we say k. Okay, if they come at the end, we do something else, which is glottalization. We replace them by a, as we're gonna see later on. So let's see what's the effect of aspiration on voice onset time. Here, you can say spectrogram of the voiced and voiceless consonant. As far as the voiced voiceless consonants on the top, we see that phonation, which is represented in these waves, is delayed. You know why delayed? Because here, let's see, this part which is blank is where our airway is blocked, and as we say, the period of blocking airway or stopping airway, and then we release it. When we release it, it makes this noise. So you say p, and then this means that the voicing which is needed in order to pronounce the following vowel in pan, for example, is delayed. Okay, let's look at the other case, which is the voiced ba. We find that because it's a voice, the phonation for the following vowel is not delayed. So here, look at this. We have here a long voice onset time, and here we have a short voice onset time. Why? Because phonation for the vowel here is delayed because we have release of air, and we have a stopping of airstream, and this takes time. But here, phonation for the following vowel happens while pronouncing the ba sound, because it's a voice sound. It needs the vibration of the vocal fold, and the vowel is said with the vibration of the vocal fold also, so there is no delayed voice answer time. Okay, VOT. Okay, for example, here I explained it in PAM, for example, the time air is trapped behind the pressed together lips ranged from 30 to 40 milliseconds. Okay, then the lips open to release air. The time between air release and the beginning of the vocal fold vibration necessary for the following vowel is called VOT. So what is this? It's this time from the release of the vowel to the release of the sound to the vibration needed for the following vowel in PAM, for example. Here we find that it is delayed, but and this is why we have a long voice answer time. And here it's not delayed in BAM with an BAMB, not P, BAM. We find that it is the voice answer time is short because our vocal folds start voicing while pronouncing the B sound, because it's a voice sound. And while in the first or in the top, on the top, we have voiceless consonant, the vocal folds wait until we pronounce the voiceless consonant with its aspiration. So this is the aspiration. This is the holding of the vocal folds, blocking, holding of the airway, blocking airway, and this is the aspiration or release of air, and then we have the following vowel. Hope that this is clear. Okay, and this happens only when we have a p, t, or k coming at the beginning of words. But if it is if they are preceded by sa, for example, and this pen, we find that the time given to the release of aspiration and so on is given to sa, and that's why the ba in Spain is not p. It's ba, a normal ba, usual ba. It's no longer aspirated. Okay, if these three consonants come finally, okay, we know that when they come initially, we aspirate them, and we prolong the voice answer time. But when we say them at the end, and when they come at the end of words, okay, we do something else, a phonetic action, which is called glottalization, which is the pronunciation of glottal stop ah, which is in Arabic al-hamza, like ya'kul, ya'mal, etc. Okay, by pressing together the two vocal folds and shutting completely the airway, where فين بقى? In the larynx. Okay, and when air is released after that glottal closure, we pronounce a glottal stop ah. That looks like lifting a heavy weight and holding press in order to be able to lift it. Okay, okay, okay. Glottal stop or glottal reinforcement or glottal replacement. This happens when these sounds come at the end, as I told you. So let's get some examples. He gets that table. He gets instead of he gets. So the T here is replaced by he gets. The T here is replaced by a. He gets that table. She might be a bit tired. A pleasant night. Okay. Kettles. Okay. Not in the kitchen, etc. Okay. He gets the table. The table. So you can replace ta by a, or add, reinforce بندعم التا by an a glottal stop before it. So we say that. You can say that table, and we can say that table. That. We keep both. He gets, and he gets. Okay. She might. Okay. What. and we can say what. So we can replace ta by or keep both of them. When we keep both of them, we call it what? Glottal reinforcement. If we replace ta by if we replace ta by we call it glottal replacement. So these are three sounds which are really, really special when they come at the beginning or when they come at the end. At the beginning, they are aspirated, and in the end, they are glottalized or reinforced by glottalization. Okay. Transcription and the second category of consonants, we have fricatives, and as you see, they are 9. 5 of them are voiceless, and 4 of them are voiced, and they are as follows. We have fa, th, s, sh, v, z, z, j, and h. Okay. Why we call them fricative? Because in order to pronounce a fricative consonant, air must go out through a narrow passage. We have to make it very, very a narrow passage, which causes friction because they are close to each other. They touch each other. Each other. This is why these consonants are called fricatives. And the two articulators or organs of speech get close enough together to shut the airway partially. This partial closure or narrowing takes place in many positions. عندنا كذا مكان بيحصل فيه narrowing ده. Number 1, labiodental narrowing made by the upper teeth and the lower lip as in fa and va. Dental narrowing as in s and z. Alveolar narrowing as in narrowing as in s and z. Palatal alveolar narrowing as in shanja, and glottal narrowing as in ha. We have the third category, affricates, or third category of consonants, and there are only 2 compound consonants. We have ch and ja. Ch is voiceless and ja is voiced, and each one contains a stop consonant followed by a fricative consonant. يعني عندنا مثلا ch is made up of a stop consonant t followed by a fricative consonant sha. And the same thing we can say on as far as ja is concerned. Number 4, nasal consonants, and there are 3, m, n, and okay, and air goes through the nasal cavity because the oral cavity is blocked when the velum or soft palate is lowered, and this allows air to go through the nose or the nasal cavity. The third feature is that all of them are vowel-like. All these consonants are vowel-like because air is not completely blocked. We say okay, we block airstream in the mouth, but it can go out through the nose. Okay, a lateral L, and this one sound, and as you see, it's called lateral because the airway is not completely shut, and the tip of the tongue gets in firm contact with the alveolar ridge, and while the 2 sides of the tongue are lowered, allowing air to go out freely. Okay, and of course there are many pronunciations for the sound la. These pronunciations are called allophones, as we said before. We have clear la at the beginning of words such as lamb, dog, or velarized la مفخمة بقى after vowels or before a pose as in build and tool, and voiceless la after a voiceless plosive consonant pa or ka as in play and clean. Okay, the last group of consonants is the approximants, and the word approximate comes from the word approximate, and which means that first of all, you have to know that there are three. Number one, ra, the second is wa, and the third is ya, and they are all voiced, and they are called approximant because two articulators get approximated or come near to each other, but not near enough to cause friction. Okay, they are not. What's the difference between approximant and fricatives? Is that the narrowing in a fricative is greater than the narrowing in approximant. We find that our mouth gets wider a little bit when we pronounce these sounds, so they are called vowel-like. So we say wa, we say ya, we say ra. They look like vowels. Airstream is never completely blocked, nor even going air. Does air go through the through a narrow passage like when we pronounce fricative consonants? Okay. In order to see the difference, note the difference in the air passage size or degree of mouth openness. Try to pronounce the fricative sound v and then the approximate sound wa. And please see, do and see the difference. When you say v and say wa, what happens when you say wa? Our mouth is more and more open. And finally, let's look at a chart of English consonants. And we have here on the top, we have place of articulation, bilabial, and we have four p, ma, and wa. We have labiodental, where fa, va, dental, sa, za, alveolar, cha, ja, sa, za, na, and la. Both post-alveolar, we have ra, palato-alveolar, sha, ja, cha, and ja, palatal, ka, and ga. With the way they are velar, I think that they are velar. So these two must be here. We have only one ya sound, which is one palatal sound, which is ya. So according to many phoneticians, ka and ga are not palatal, they are velar. So please shift them to this slot or to this cell. And then we have glotter, which is ha. Then we come to the exercises. Please do the exercises, and let's see the first one. Each of the following has a transcription error. Give the word and supply the correct transcription. Here we have pizza, and the word is transcribed as pizza. Okay, pizza. Okay, look at these words. You will find an error here. For example, here's a word station. This is not is incorrect, so we have delete this and say station. Okay, and look at the other words, and please try to do the rest of the exercises. And here a chart illustrating all English sounds, especially in British English, the 44 sounds. Let's wrap our lecture by pronouncing them, and please you can repeat after me. And we start: e, read; e, sit; o, book; u, to. Okay. A, man; America; word; o, sword; a, cat; a, but; a, pot; o, not. This song. Here; a, day; a, day; or, to; e, we. Let's pronounce them this way. E, he, o, to, e, we, a, j, oi, boy, I, my, o, go, ow, how, big, pig, bed or bad, bed, time, do, church, judge, kilo, go, five, very, think, the, six, zoo, short, casual, milk, no, sing, hello, la, live, read, window, yes. Hope that you start transcribing and reading and as much as you can, and also listening and speaking, and do the rest of the exercises. And see you next week. Thank you. Goodbye.